Once upon a time, in a small Nigerian city, there lived a woman called Mama Oba. She is a widow who single-handedly raised her only son after the death of her husband. Mama Oba is a very hard-working woman who has different shops around Arumire. After the death of her husband, Mama Oba decided not to remarry and focus on training her only son Oba. She did everything to ensure that Oba had a good education and home training. Years later, Oba graduated from the university with excellent grades. Many people commended Mama Oba for training her son so well, and soon, her friends who have female daughters began to recommend their daughters in subtle ways. Some of them would call Oba their in-law or my daughter's husband to be. Mama Oba understood her friends' gimmicks, but she would always laugh them off. A friend of hers, Mama Tife, once told Mama Oba, "Your son is very handsome and well-mannered, and I wish that he gets married to my daughter someday." Mama Oba waved it off, saying that when Oba becomes an adult, he would know how to choose a good life partner for himself. But Mama Tife insisted that she allowed the two children to get married. Mama Oba agreed nonchalantly. After Oba's university education, he worked with his mother for a while before moving to a nearby city, where he got a well-paying job with lots of benefits attached to it. He was given an apartment and a company car, and within a short while, Oba started investing in properties. Oba's mom began to talk to him about getting a wife, but Oba did not show any interest. His mom would often wonder why her only son has refused to get married, but there was nothing she could do about it. She tried to make him like Tife by telling him good things about her and even setting up a dinner date for both of them, but Oba was not interested in her. A few years later, Oba built his first house and he moved in. His mother was worried about him living alone at such young age, and she began to pester him again into having a wife. But this time, he told his mother that he has been thinking in that direction too and would bring his fiance home very soon. Fulfilling his promise, Oba took his fiancée Iweti to meet his mother. He met her at work and they got fond of each other within a very short while. At first, Oba's mom seemed to like Iweti so much, but after a while, she changed towards her. Oba observed that his mom doesn't like his fiancé, but when he confronted her about it, she pretended like everything was fine. Oba's mom would attend to Iweti very well whenever she visits her with Oba, but the situation changes whenever she visits alone. Iweti would always visit her soon-to-be mother-in-law in a bid to bond with her, but Oba's mom couldn't hide her dislike for too long. Whenever Iweti buys anything for Mama Oba, she would not appreciate it, and if she cooks for her, she would say the food is tasteless, even when every other person says the food tastes great. Iweti began to see that Oba's mom did not really like her, and she reduced her rate of visitation. Iweti wondered why Oba's mom did not like her despite everything she has done to make her like her at least. After a while, she finally decided that she would not force herself on her mother-in-law or buy her love. Rather, she would allow events to play out naturally. Months later, the two families met and the introduction took place, and a wedding date was chosen for Oba and Iweti's wedding. The wedding plan was going on smoothly, but Iweti was surprised that her mother-in-law did not make any efforts to participate or even ask them what they were planning. Also, her mother-in-law will never check on her, and when she calls, she always starts with a question, "Who am I speaking to?" Iweti always feels bad about this, but she kept calling her mother-in-law nonetheless. One day, she decided to visit her to know what was wrong at least. When she got to her shop, she met her talking to her friend, Mommy Tife. She started by asking to see Mama Oba privately, but she told Ireti to say everything she wanted to say in the presence of her friend, as they have been together since childhood. Ireti was reluctant at first, but Mama Oba assured her it was okay. So she couldn't say anything other than explaining the preparation they've made so far and other things they were planning to do. And then she asked Mama Oba if she has anything to contribute in terms of advice. But to her surprise, she told Ireti that she doesn't want to interfere in their planning because she's not the one getting married. She laughs as her friend supported her by saying, "Yes now, why would she advise you on how to plan your wedding when you seem to have everything planned out already? I beg you." Ireti tried to explain that she could pick colors for the party or the wedding venue, as they haven't decided yet on that. But Mama Oba asked her not to bother. Her words really hurt Ireti greatly, and she began to wonder if going on with the wedding was a good idea. She left there feeling embarrassed. She couldn't tell Oba anything for fear of causing issues between him and his mom. But she knows within her that she's in for a long ride with her mother-in-law, and there is nothing she could do about it. She loves Oda dearly, and the thought of leaving him is not something she would like to consider. Being an orphan, Ireti was hoping to marry a man whose mother would fill the vacuum that has been left in her heart since the death of her mother when she was only a child. After giving her words a careful thought, Ireti decided not to take Mama Oba and her friend's words to heart. 3 weeks before the wedding, Ireti received a call from her mother-in-law's friend, Mommy Tife. She told Ireti that her mother-in-law is a very strict woman and that she should be ready for her after the wedding. Ireti then replied that she has done everything to understand her mother-in-law, but she kept proving difficult and there was nothing she could do. Mommy Tife then kept telling Ireti to be prepared for the worst after their wedding and that she can still stop the wedding if she values her life and mental health. Ireti did not take this seriously. She laughed and assured Tife's mom that she would manage her mother-in-law and she can't call off the wedding. Mama Tife went silent for a long time before telling Ireti that her daughter Tife makes lovely wedding dresses, and if she's yet to make a wedding dress, she could always use her service. Ireti then replied that she would think about it and hung up the call. That night, Ireti met Oba and explained that Mama Tife called her and asked her to patronize her daughter for the wedding dress. She wanted to know what Oba thinks about it before patronizing her. Oba then replied that she had called him earlier to request for a number. He agreed that Tife is truly a talented fashion designer and she won't regret patronizing her. They agreed to use her service and she did an excellent job with the wedding dress. 2 days before the wedding, Moba called Ireti and she began to ask her some questions. She asked Ireti if she had bought her wedding gown and Ireti replied that she had done that. Ireti then told her that it was even her friend's daughter Tife who made the wedding dress for them. Mama Oba was surprised. She asked Ireti how she got Mama Tife's number, but Ireti replied that she must have gotten it from Oba. And since Oba seemed to like her and recommended her, I had to try her and she did an excellent job with the wedding dress, Ireti told her mother-in-law. Mama Oba was surprised that her friend sold a wedding dress to her son and his fiance without letting her know. She confronted her friend, but to her surprise, she replied, "You are not the one getting married, so why should I tell you?" Mama Oba then understood the point her friend was trying to make. They both have unresolved issues and that's why she did not inform her before calling Oba and his fiancé. The issue is about Tife not getting married to Oba as she promised. Mama Oba was pissed that she invited Ireti over to her place and she asked her to come with the wedding dress. When Ireti got there, Mama Oba was very angry at her for getting a wedding dress for Mama Tife without telling her. Ireti apologized even though she did not think that she did anything wrong. After all, she already asked her to contribute to the wedding and she was not willing to. Mama Oba then asked Ireti to show her the wedding dress and she checked it thoroughly, saying it was beautiful. Then she asked Ireti to get her some fruits at a nearby market. Ireti asked her mother-in-law to keep the wedding dress in her room so that people would not see it as she rushed out to get the fruit and other things she sent her. But when she got back, she found her mother-in-law dipping her wedding dress inside a pot of hibiscus tea. Ireti dropped the bag she was carrying as she saw this. She screamed in horror and she began to cry. It's only 2 days to her wedding and her mother-in-law ruined her wedding gown. Ireti sat down on the floor crying. Her mother-in-law then said to her, "You better get up and stop crying. I have my reasons and I know you will understand one day. You will get a new wedding dress." Ireti did not want to lose it and speak angrily to her mother-in-law. She got up and stormed out of the house in anger. She told Oba what happened on the phone and he was very angry. He went to see his mother at the close of work and he asked her why she would ruin his fiance's wedding gown when they have only 2 days to their wedding. His mom did not give any reply and Oba became pissed. He kept asking the same question. When his mom did not reply after spending an hour trying to get her to talk, he removed the wedding dress from where his mother soaked it and kept it in a bag and left in anger. When Oba's mom later found the dress was missing, she called Oba and asked him, "Did you take the dress? I can't find it where I soaked it." And Oba replied, "Even if I take it, I can't use it for the wedding, so what's the point? I spent a lot of money making that dress and I'm not happy with what you did. You still don't want to tell me why you ruined it?" He asked his mother, but she hung up the call on him. When he got home, he talked to Ireti and apologized for his mother's behavior. Then he asked her to check stores around for a new wedding dress. Luckily for them, they got a new ready-to-wear wedding dress and Ireti loved it. But they knew that the first wedding gown would have been perfect. Oba knew that Ireti was not happy deep down, but there was nothing he could do to remedy the situation. He called Tife earlier to lie that the wedding dress was stolen, but she told him that fixing another one within a day or two would be impossible. Surprisingly, Oba's mother was very happy on his wedding day and she danced and danced. Mama Tife was also present with Tife and she was very angry with Oba. She told him that she knows he lied that the wedding gown was stolen because his mother doesn't want his bride to wear the wedding gown made by her daughter. She then said she was disappointed in him, even though Oba tried to explain to her that she was wrong. Oba also noticed that his mother did not attend well to Tife and her mother and he wondered why. He asked his mother for her misbehavior later that day, but she told him it's none of his business. After the wedding, Oba's relationship with his mother did not remain the same, even though his wife tried everything to let him forget about what she did and move on. Oba's mom also did not help matters, as the only thing she kept telling Oba is that she has her reasons for soaking his wife's wedding gown in hibiscus tea. And whenever he asked her to tell her the reason, she would reply that the time is not ripe yet. A year later, Ireti was a few months pregnant and Oba decided to surprise his dear wife for their wedding anniversary. They invited a few close friends for the celebration and the evening was going perfectly well until Ireti came into the sitting room with the wedding dress Mama Oba dipped inside the hibiscus tea. Mama Oba dropped the glass of wine she was holding and it shattered on the floor. She quickly composed herself and asked to see Oba in private. She asked Oba if that was not the same wedding dress that she had soaked and he replied, "Yes, I know how much my wife loved the wedding dress and I began to look for how to repair it immediately after our wedding. I finally got a dry cleaner to wash it and remove all the stains and I paid heavily for it. I decided to present it to her on our anniversary and she was very happy, when she saw what I did with it. Oba's mother began to cry. She told Oba that the wedding dress is cursed and Ireti is not supposed to wear it. But Oba laughed out loud and asked his mother, "If you knew the wedding dress was cursed, why didn't you tell us instead of dipping it inside Zobo? I'm sure you're only looking for an excuse for what you did because you did not believe that I could get the dress back to its original state and make my wife happy. I still don't understand why you don't love my wife despite how she treats you well. Why are you hell-bent on making her unhappy?" Oba asked his mother. Mama Oba left Oba sitting there even though he tried to stop her. She went back to the sitting room, pretending like nothing happened, and they continued the party. The next morning, Oba went to the guest room to find out that his mother was gone. He called her on the phone many times, but she did not pick his calls. Ireti woke up to use the toilet, but she found out that there was blood in her private area. She was 5 months pregnant and is not supposed to be bleeding. She told Oba and they both rushed to the hospital. After the doctor checked her up, they found out that she has lost her baby. Ireti cried and cried, but Oba tried to console her. She could not go to work for days as the effect of her miscarriage did not wear off. Oba did everything to cheer her up, but Ireti's condition did not improve. She got better after 2 weeks, but when she got to the office, she found out that she has been replaced by a junior colleague who knows little about her position. It came as a shock to her because everyone knows that she's indispensable at the office. Moreover, she has written to them to inform them of her miscarriage as soon as it happened. Surprisingly, when she got home and informed Oba, he also told her that he just got laid off too. And it came as a surprise because the company did not show any sign of dissatisfaction. He told Ireti, "Last week, I overheard my supervisor telling the MD that I need to be promoted and the MD agreed. So I don't know where this is coming from." The weeks that followed were very bad for the couple. They began to argue non-stop, and the love they once shared began to fade away. Unknown to the couple, Oba's mom has fallen seriously ill, but since he has not gotten in touch with her since she left, he did not know she was ill. One morning, she called Oba to inform him about her illness, and she asked him to come with Ireti. When they got to her place, they were very surprised at the state they met her. She explained to Ireti and Oba that Tife's mom casted a spell on Ireti's wedding dress because Oba did not get married to Tife. Oba was surprised. He told his mom that he never promised to marry Tife, but she replied that she had once promised Mama Tife that Oba would marry her daughter, and she did not know that she took it serious. She also told Oba that she's the reason why she hated Ireti, because she took her to a very powerful man who told her that Ireti would never bear a child for her son. When you brought Ireti home, Tife's mom told me that we can't just allow you two to get married without asking from powerful men. We went together to see a prophet who told me that your wife is evil and that she will bring bad luck to you. I believed in the man at first, and he said he could do something to stop you from loving Ireti. I did not make up my mind on time, but when I finally did, I got to the man's place to find out my friend Mama Tife was already there. I overheard her telling the man that Oba must marry her daughter at all costs. The man then asked her to bring any of Ireti's clothes that she would be wearing on the wedding day, and that was why she asked to make a wedding dress. The man told her that as soon as he cast a spell on the wedding dress, the marriage would break in a very short while and Tife would marry Oba eventually. When I heard this, I felt betrayed, and that was why I dipped the wedding dress in Zobo. But now that you have repaired it and worn it, I don't know what will happen. Mama Oba sobbed. Oba and Ireti were dumbfounded. Oba asked his mother why she kept all this away from them, but she replied that she doesn't want the couple to have a bad opinion about her. Oba hugged his mom and assured her that he loves her so much and would not judge her because of a little mistake. She apologized to Ireti and she hugged her. They then broke the news of Ireti's miscarriage to her and told her of the other misfortunes that have befallen them. Mama Oba broke down in tears and kept apologizing for not telling them the effect of the wedding gown, but the couple were more concerned about her health. Before long, Mama Oba's heart rate began to increase and she gave up the ghost before she could tell them how to overcome the evil lurking around their home. The couple cried and they felt bad for not checking on Mama, and they were also unhappy that she could hide such information from them. Now, they have to deal with the problem alone. The young couple did not know what to do. After the burial of Mama Oba and his wife goes to the church pastor to explain what happened to them. The pastor prayed for them and assured them that he would do something about it. He went home with them and asked them to burn the wedding dress and every other clothes that had come in contact with it. Ireti cried as she burned more than half of her clothes and she watched them burn with Oba and the pastor. Mama Tife sent for Ade the next day and he went with his wife and the pastor. Her skin was burnt because of the wedding dress they burnt. She pleaded with Ade and his wife to forgive her, and she explained that she has always wanted Ade to marry her daughter, and Mama Oba has always assured her that Oba would marry her daughter. But she was pained when she saw Oba marry someone else. She apologized for her wrongdoing, but Oba told her that his mom already explained everything to them and that they have forgiven her. The first mom was happy and she bursted into tears. The couple left and wished her quick recovery. 2 weeks later, the couple got their jobs back and everything went back to normal. This story teaches us to never promise and fail to fulfill it, especially when it comes to relationships and marriage. Only God knows the perfect partner for everyone. Parents should never choose partners for their sons or daughters. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.